What's good, beautiful people? Welcome to 2.5 Husbands, where we celebrate becoming better husbands.
It's 2.5, even though there are 3 husbands, and that's because at some point, one of us, if not all of us, was not fully the husband that we were supposed to be.
And that's why we actually come here on a weekly basis to discuss some of the issues that we face, some of the issues we are seeing around us, and we hope that the journey that we started with you and for you is going to benefit you.
Short liver. What's good, gents?
Chilling, dog.
Wait, gents, there's a chat, right?
Chilling.
Marriage has taught me a lot. And I think the interesting thing I've been learning is how I'm learning as I'm learning. And in this case, I'm like, I've identified differences between my wife and I. That they used to annoy me. But I've learned to embrace. But that's not the point. My point is, in the process, I've actually come to learn the value of taking an interest in my wife's interests.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And Maf, I know we spoke about it a bit. And I'm like, it's so interesting.
Come on now.
It's so interesting how...
Only compound interest in
Yeah,
your thinking.
That's right.
That is right.
But it's really interesting how in investing in her interests actually not brings out the best in us as a unit, but also in me as an individual, you know? I get to grow from learning something else. I get to grow from focusing on someone else and not just myself and my own interests. It helps me be selfless and all of that. But there's just so much that goes into that. And I want to understand from your guys' perspective how you guys have managed taking an interest in your wife's interests.
Sure.
Dope.
I find it interesting that
That's
you bring
right. I mean, might as well.
that you bring that point across. And I think I'll probably share the same sentiment, right? In 2 ways. The first way being, there are certain things that my wife enjoys that I don't particularly enjoy.
Like Real Housewives of Durban.
Yeah. Look, I've watched so many of them. I don't
show
know
is
which
fire.
one I watch.
Okay.
I recently watched the Dubai one and I enjoyed that.
See, all of those, I've been there.
Yeah.
As for the level of enjoyment I have had,
Yeah.
0.
yeah, it's just not my thing.
At least some of us, we end up liking whatever we're watching.
Yeah, no. If there was a like button on whatever streaming platform you use, I'm not the one who's
Come
clicking
on now.
that thing.
Sure.
The whole time I'm just like...
just liking your
and
wife.
like people...
Yeah?
Yeah, he's liking his wife. Not
After the
show.
thing, she's the like button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But while we're watching, bro, like I can see she's invested. Joe.
Sure.
I'm like, yeah, this is an act of love.
Yes.
I am here because I like to see you happy.
Yes.
And you want me to be
Yeah.
enjoying this.
Yeah.
And so I'm finna do that. Right? And I'm gonna spend that time with you.
Sure,
Now,
sure.
some people are like, are you sure you want to put that on the internet? I'm like, no, she knows.
Yeah.
Even
That's
afterwards,
good.
she's
Yeah.
thankful for
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
But there's that one angle, right, that we can look at. Then there's another where there's certain interests of my wife that then become my interests as well. Like I enjoy the element of partaking in them, even though it's something I never would have done before. Case in point, I came from a boys' school, right? There's certain activities we never would have sat at the Grays Hall back
Come on
home
now.
eating lunch.
Come on now.
And say, hey, Buffett, one day we finna be painting clay, you know what I mean?
Even paint show.
Yeah,
as
nobody
As homeboys.
was gonna sit there and say that.
No,
but I'm like,
we eat on plates.
with my chest, I enjoyed that thing.
Come on now.
Legit.
My wife loves art. She's actually, again, something I realized. I didn't even know that she was that good at art.
Sure.
And then I see her drawings and I'm like, yo, that's fire.
Come on now.
The painting, all these things. And I'm like, I actually get to experience something of my wife I didn't know or fully understand before. And actually, I'm like, yeah, that was dope. I would probably go back if I was to teleport and be like, fit.
Yeah.
Go paint some
Gents,
clay.
let's go paint
Yeah,
plates. Sure. Okay.
Paint some clay, dog. So
Yeah.
I think those are my two initial views. But again, even when you're doing something that you don't enjoy, seeing your partner enjoying it, for me, it's enough reason to be like, I'll do it once in a while.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna watch the whole season with you, but whenever you feel like, I think, do you want to watch with me? I'm like, all right.
Yeah, that's dope.
Wait, in the moment, do you say, no, I don't want to watch, but because I love you, I want to watch? Or do you act enthusiastic?
I think she knows enough that even if I am enthusiastic, this show right here, this next 45 minutes
gonna be
or
hard.
1 hour and 30 minutes, this G loves me.
Okay.
That's sweet. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
On your side?
And I think that's what marriage is, bro. You know?
Yeah.
Because we all have interests as individuals. But coming together is you know, we don't have to support each other's interests.
Yeah.
And by support, I'm not saying not acknowledging the thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, some people think just because I'm married to you, like, I have to financially, in terms
Yeah,
of presence.
yeah.
If you are a YouTuber, I need to go like all your videos. No, man. There's other ways that I can support your interests.
Yeah.
Right? But my point was I think that's what marriage is, you know? And it shouldn't be, and it is a wrestle for most people, but it shouldn't be a wrestle. It shouldn't, once you say, I do, you are saying your interests are my interests. And we'll figure out, that's why we're going to be together till death takes us, right? We're going to figure out how that's going to look like, how I'm going to shift from my quote-unquote comfort zone so I can enter yours and you vice versa, you know? So for me, it's not even a conversation of whether this should happen or not. If you're married, it should happen.
Yeah.
Right? It should happen, right? But I dig how I think there's just 3 perspectives here.
Yeah.
So you get into your wife's interests, end up liking them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sacrifice here, right? Which is dope.
Yeah,
And that's realistic.
And
right?
liking it sometimes.
And liking
Yeah.
it sometimes. And for me, like from day one, we've just had the same interest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would actually then want to throw a spanner in the works of what you said.
Yeah.
How does it work? Or how should we navigate when you actually don't like, but even beyond don't like, you're actually against certain interests?
Hey. Yeah, that's heavy.
And I ask because like my wife and I had something like that, right? Like my wife makes me watch Popeyes. My wife loves Popeyes, right? And it annoys me. But that I'm just like,
For
this is
Caucasian
actually
brothers and sisters,
cartoons.
he's talking
Cartoon
about
Network.
cartoons.
I'm talking about Popeyes.
Right. You know, Popeye. That dog. Whether on a spinach or Peppa Pig, Popeye.
My wife loves Popeyes, and I genuinely like. I wouldn't if I was alone. I wouldn't watch them, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also just like, actually, time spent watching Popeyes as opposed to everything else I could be watching on Netflix is actually a lot better.
Yes.
Okay.
It cleans my mind, you know. I'm there laughing, and also low key, today's Popeyes can sing, dog. There's this one that I was watching. I left her watching it today.
Popeyes were always for adults, bro.
I think it's boobs or something like that. I don't know, it's just weird creatures. I'm like, when there's like a musical item, hey! I'm like, is it Rihanna? But anyway, the point I'm making is that there are certain things where I'm just like, yeah, it's okay, it's cool. But then there are other things where I'm like, honestly, this makes me uncomfortable, right? Like, I don't know if I wouldn't divulge, but I'm like, there are certain interests my wife had in terms of modeling, right? And me, I was like, nah.
B? I ain't gonna have no wife.
No.
Strutting herself.
No.
In these streets.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I made it clear that I'm uncomfortable with this, right? But after talking to her, I was actually just like, it's actually not that deep. Because when she would come to me and speak about modeling, I'm thinking of the ladies who are exposed, and she's like, I'm actually talking about like hand modeling.
Yeah, just hands.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
And now it's bad because my wife consults me when she does manicures.
Yeah.
And I'm personally invested.
Sure.
Because you're like, this could be in a picture.
No, to a point where I'll get touched if she does something that we didn't agree on.
Yeah.
Like, we said we're going with nude. coffin shape.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Now,
Even me, I know acrylic. You know that thing.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm there now.
Champion.
I'm like, why are you adding tips when you've got...
Don't mess with me.
Come on, dog.
Mascara.
Real Housewives has taught you a lot.
He's plugged in, dog.
I don't know, you're with it, my bro.
He's plugged in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it took me time, but after actually hearing her out, I was able to be like, actually, no, man, this is cool. Let's do this. Now I'm personally invested. But I do know that initially off the block, I wasn't there. But how do we navigate that when your wife is interested in something where I'd even go as far as to say it goes against maybe your personal convictions?
I think obviously in that case the conversation is different.
Okay.
You know? So if so on two things. So one, I could have personal convictions, right?
Yeah.
100. And that should be considered. But then what are our convictions as a family? Convictions as a couple? And obviously if then one person's interests go against that, then I'm like, okay, that's a separate chat.
Sure.
You know, and they'd have to be like, by going against, it's like, yeah, see, this is like on the other side of the world, right?
Sure.
Like a proper, what's the word? Antithesis, right?
Yeah.
It's antithetical.
Antithetical.
Right? To what it is that we're holding on to.
Sure.
Right? And then I'm like, girl, that's why? We could talk about the thing so that at least we've given it time and room to breathe and iron it out. But if it's clear, and I'm
goes
like,
against our values.
Yeah, it goes against our values, bro. What it is that we're building here, you know, what it is that we both hold on to, what we want to teach our kids, what kind of image we want to portray as a family in society. If it goes against all of that, I'm like, if we're having a chat, I suga, man, like, clearly there's something wrong here. Like, it's not even about that. You know what I mean? Because I think interests are not supposed to be that deep negatively. I think they're supposed to be deep in a positive and building way.
Okay.
I think if somebody has interests that negatively affect the family, I wouldn't even call that an interest. I think
It's demonic.
Y'all really like this antithetical view.
I think if it's that, then I'm like, either way, whether it's my interest or my interest.
Sure.
And let me say, maybe, right? There's habits that have been perpetuated in my family from both parties.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, Mara, yeah.
Am I sure? It's not make sure.
There's times where I've said, my wife has called me out on other things, ne?
Yeah.
I'm protecting my family. But she's called me out on something. And if you're watching this, you know. Right? Where I was
This
like,
is for you.
I was like, this thing is not bad, man. You know, it's okay. Da, da, da. She was like, listen, I don't like this thing. I don't vibe with it. Right? I was like, all right, gang. Clear, very categorical.
Yeah.
Don't like it? Easy. Stopped it. Right? 2 months later, she picks up the same thing that she hates that I did.
Hectic.
Starts doing the thing. I'm like, girl, I thought that you hate the thing. Yeah, Mara, you see, like, when you were doing it. You know, and so I'm like, I remember sitting thinking, I brought the devil into my house, Joe. Not my wife.
The thing
interest.
Sure.
I was like, I brought the devil into my house. Yeah.
Hectic.
Now my wife does, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that thing is not necessarily against our vision, what we believe, our convictions. But we don't like it necessarily. She didn't like it when I was doing it. I don't like it when she's doing it. But it feels like, as a leader, and I'd admit, I'm like, I flopped, eh?
Sure.
Flopped. When my wife said, yo, I don't take this thing, I should have been like, okay, cut this thing done.
We
As a family,
Shucks.
we're not doing this thing.
Yeah.
Right? But because I was like, it's fine, man. You know, it's okay. It's guys, listen, it's not a big deal. But I'm just protecting my family. It's not a big deal, this thing, right? But I should have said, hey, we're cutting this. Nobody's doing it. Hundreds. I hear you. I respect you. I just said, I hear you. It's cool. I'm not going to do it. It's not a big deal. So when it came back it's not a big deal, Amish. So now I'm like, Okay. Okay.
And that's actually so key, dog.
Yeah.
That's actually so key.
Yeah.
Because what I think for me the turning point, and Mav, I don't know if you wanted to add something to that before I
No, go there because I had another angle I was going to. So go.
Because my thing was, I actually realized, maybe a few steps back, I realized that I needed to start with making sure that this personal conviction is one that should be transcendent and not one that is just how I feel.
Yeah, hundreds.
Am I just insecure about other people seeing my wife? Or is it that what my wife wants to do goes against our values? And the reality, I was like, I'm very protective over my wife right now.
Yeah,
I'm
hundreds.
like, listen, I don't want anything or anyone to.
Hundreds.
So that for me was like, okay, Prince, there are other underlying issues. And the responsibility that then lies on men or husbands in this case is that because you have the louder voice, louder in the sense that we generally, in terms of abusing power, would come from the male side.
Yeah.
It's important for us to be able to be discerning
Yeah.
so that we do not impose on our wives something that should be dealt with in our own
Internally.
hearts.
Sure.
Bars, bro.
Boss.
Go to where you wanted to go.
Bars, bro.
So what I was gonna say is you've got the element where enjoying your wife's interests is a sacrifice. Then you've got an element where you introduce interests that maybe are not against your vision, but you're more comfortable with them not being in your vision and how that plays out from a leadership perspective. Then I think you've got the other side in what it feels like when your wife engages in your interests. However, for me, I feel strong.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You're a hero.
okay, let me unpack it. There's no protection issue.
You a
here.
hero.
My wife, she is an old soul in a young body. Right?
Okay.
All the people she listens to are the people we would have seen on VH1.
Yeah.
Yeah, your wife has
Yeah.
good taste.
My wife, yeah.
it's good now,
It's
man.
it's good. It's
You're
good.
just a millennial, like
But
that.
she'll enjoy music with my parents. Matter of fact, they gel on music
Hectic.
more than me and
her.
my.
Out of all the wives that watch this podcast, your wife watches this podcast 5 million times more than both our wives.
Yeah.
Yep.
So she's hearing this.
No, she knows, and
Yeah.
she knows.
Okay.
Literally, this was a chat we had maybe last week. In fact, this week.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, okay, this is something that's unique around my wife. Right. Our musical differences are major, but there's certain places. Like I'll tell you now, if you hear my wife listening to Amapiano, it is me. Not like that. I'm the one.
Yeah.
If you hear her listening to Christian hip hop,
Yeah. It is
it
you.
is me.
Yes.
But if it's Eminem, I know.
No.
It's her.
If it's
Missy is
Eminem,
done.
I know. That's all her.
No. She's strong.
Your wife is a Snoop Dogg fan.
No, she's strong.
I don't
Snoop
think so.
Dogg in the case of whenever he's featuring with
Yeah.
Eminem.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't. Snoop Dogg, you'll
No,
tell me.
knowing your wife, I don't think she.
I don't
listens
think
to
so.
Snoop.
So there we are, right? Now she puts herself in my world.
Yeah.
And recall my wedding.
Yeah.
She walked to
I
all
was
the
about
music
to ask.
that I played.
I was
for her
about to. Yeah.
that she never had heard before.
Yeah.
The whole playlist.
No, legit. I
The
was
whole-
shocked at the song she walked down to.
There we go.
Because like this sounds like Mav, dog.
It's me.
No wonder you look like a king at your wedding, dog.
It's your wife.
Chief.
Besides the fact that she laid on the ground. Boy.
She did this, my dog.
Flat.
She did
What?
that.
Listen.
Flat.
What did your wife do? Did you probably do it like a handshake?
My wife was crying. Aye.
No, that's
we
beautiful.
had a bet. No, we had a bet.
My wife didn't go down. No high five. She wasn't crying. I was crying.
Yeah. No, you were in tears.
pouring.
I was gone. Matter of fact, she might have bowed and stuff. You just couldn't see it because you were in tears.
We had a bet. The bet was, let's see who's gonna cry first. This chick, like literally, like she hasn't even taken a step. I was like, How is this a bet, bro? Like, you're not even trying.
You
dog.
set yourself up, dog.
Literally, the whole time, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, gents normally think, wow, look at how beautiful my wife is. I'm like, we're going to have a chat after this. Why are you crying?
Why?
Olelang.
Like,
Olelang.
you were supposed to give me competition. Like, now I'm even angry that you just in jail.
Need to get tissues now. All of a sudden.
To lose
Anyway, nah, I love
But
music.
all of that to say, and these are things, like I said, conversation we had now.
Yeah.
I didn't realize or recognize that until this conversation we had. I'm like, Hode!
Yeah.
All of your music that you walk down to dedicate your life to me and for me to dedicate my life to you are interests you picked up only because of me. Buffett.
And she would have probably had
No, I hear you
songs
I hear
to
you.
walk down to.
Yeah, she had.
No, she does.
I mean, women
She coulda-
think about weddings
She could have walked down
forever.
Snoop Dogg,
Hectic.
But
I don't know why. I don't know why he's talking about Snoop Dogg.
drop it like it's
My
hard.
love.
And she's walking down the aisle. Drop it like it's hard. Drop it like it's hard.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, MJ is her person. As for Snoop, I don't know where he's
so-
featuring.
MJ.
I know this is
and
going to
Eminem.
rub it the
Take a
wrong
second.
way.
She's gonna throw shade at you the next time she sees
She
you.
is.
I can see it already.
Sorry.
Hectic. That's actually a practical example of how one person took interest in another person.
Bro, and the
Yeah.
way it makes you feel. Like for me, I was
100.
like,
Sharks, dog.
I don't know if you've got instances that speak to you in that way, where it's like, because we've talked about taking interest in our wives, but then there's the same benefit they have when we take interest in theirs is the same benefit that we have when they take interest
And
in
the
ours.
thing about that, dog, is, so again, if marriage is a coming together of two people to essentially become one,
Yeah.
some people are scared of getting married because they think, I'm going to lose myself.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, you are. Right. And it's done. Let's get it out of
That's
the way.
another chat.
Let's get it out of the way.
That is another chat.
Yes, you will. Right? Why? Because, again, you made the decision that your
Yeah.
life will be better with this other person. I lost myself because I thought the new self would be better. My wife lost herself the day she said, I do. Because
Yeah.
the new self is way better. So even some of the interests that she comes with or the interests that I bring,
That's good, dog.
they become more powerful because
That's
they
good.
become our interests now.
That's good.
Which is what happened at your wedding, which is what happens with the Popeyes.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, okay, for me, sure, we can call it luck. God's doing, wada. Me and my wife, again, we pick up rubbish habits from each
Yes.
other. That's how, right? So our interests, at least a bulk of our individual interests have always been the same.
Shucks.
So both into music. Yeah, our music tastes might differ here and there, but largely we'll share stuff together, talk about artists that we like, movies. So if she says, let's watch a movie. And here's the thing, me and my wife would watch a movie that she probably likes, right? I'll probably get something totally different from what she got.
Yep.
And that's how our conversations become that much
Sharks.
richer.
Yeah.
Because now I'm not sitting there saying, which might happen in your case because you're sacrificing, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. You might sit there and think, wow, that was cool. I learned one or two.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But for us, what happens is she's like, oh, dang, I never saw it that way. I'm like, oh, I never saw your perspective as well, right?
Yeah.
So both our interests now are grown. And then together as a couple, like we like one movie.
Sure.
But with more perspectives as opposed to when she was alone, she would have
Yep.
had one perspective, but now she has two perspectives, right? So for me, I'm like, yo, man, that's taking interest in my wife's interests is for the betterment of our marriage and growing our marriage,
Yeah.
and vice versa, and how she takes interest in my interests, right?
Yeah.
It grows this thing next level. By the time we have kids, which now we have, I'm like, at least in my household, our kids see us agreeing on more things.
Oh,
Yeah.
Not just the big fundamental stuff that keeps our family together.
Yeah.
Hundreds. There you should agree, right? But even just our taste of music, just how the stuff that my kid watches, we both agree now. This is not good. This is right. That's not that. Why? Because at the fundamental level, we want to agree. We want to have the same voice. But even just at that level of interests, right? We like,
Sure.
dog. And plus, we both artists. So it's plus that thing is visually sucks, man. Let's not expose our kids. That thing is whack.
The angles are whack.
It is whack, dog. Just not sure that.
They didn't use a pancake lens.
Yeah. So obviously we'll discuss it at a fundamental level first. Like,
Yeah.
what's the worldview that she's picking up from this? And I'll end here. I know my kid because we like block a bunch of crazy channels on her YouTube. Right? Because obviously algorithm just proposes all sorts of rubbish.
Oh, rubbish, yeah.
But there's all these kids channels because you can't monetize kids channels, right? So they have to make their income in alternative ways. And one of those ways is basically product placement, right? So there's all these crazy kids channels that, kids are playing house or kids are playing doctor or whatever, but they use like a fancy stethoscope, and it's glistening, shiny, whatever. When my daughter watches that stuff, what does she want? She wants that. She wants that Barbie doll that looks like it's R1,000,000, right? So block all the stuff because I'm like, I don't want her to be turned into a consumer at this young age, and all she's wanting in life are all the glitz and glamour, and I'm like, yo, man, just grow. Your mind is young, impressionable, and there's a lot of space for you to gain substance, right? And if I don't do that at this young age, I'm stuffed. But so block all those channels. But I would know when one of those channels have popped up because she comes back to ask for stuff.
Hectic.
That's how I know one of these crazy channels have popped up, right? So long way to say, both me and my wife disagree on that stuff, right? So we both agree, rather, that we don't want our kid to watch that stuff, right? Then the next level is, plus the stuff is shot terribly.
Sure. It's crap.
Right? We don't agree with the worldview and the philosophy.
Yeah.
100 fist bump, but this thing sucks. So it just makes our parenting way better, makes our marriage more fun and exciting.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, don't be stupid and think I'm going to get into marriage. No, but he or she should accept me the way I am.
Yeah.
No, stay single.
Shanks.
You're going to ruin your life.
Hey, Joe, you're killing my subscribe.
You're going to make...
Like and subscribe.
Please like and subscribe. Don't listen to what Black said.
Yeah.
Nah, but I hear you, bro. I hear you. And
Yeah.
I'll say the parting shot for me is, like, learn to embrace the differences because they make the marriage so beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
I think what I've seen, and that's probably another chat, but what I've seen in pop culture is how celebrity couples letting go of the relationship because of the differences. And in all fairness, some of the differences are significant.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, yo, man, you walked away from a gold mine.
Yeah.
You walked, because in embracing those differences, you could have become a better person. Your marriage, the unit that is you and your partner, could have been even more powerful.
Yeah.
But you're just like, we just grew apart.
Our interests, just became too different.
No, we just realized how different we are. You've been different, my dog.
Yes.
You've been.
Sheesh.
Yes.
And I think what's interesting, just to double click on that concept you're talking about there, is many gents won't say this, but there is a beauty in being known and loved. Ooh. And part of that being known and being loved. No, they won't.
Especially at the cafeteria.
I'll say it on your behalf. You want to be known and you want to be loved.
Acknowledged.
Believed.
Acknowledged.
Affirmed.
And you want someone, much as you're like, I enjoy this by myself, you also want someone to share that enjoyment with.
So sidebar, yesterday I told my wife, I'm actually like, after 9 years of marriage, I've been dropping hints. My love language is being touched. I need to be touched.
You need her to be interested in touching you.
Yeah, no, listen, I want to wake up and my wife just touches me. Yeah. No, it's not sexual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just
when I walk in, just come give me a hug.
That's it.
Rub my head.
Dog.
Touch my fingers.
Dog.
It's my love language. I want to be touched.
I fell asleep to my wife giving me I don't even think she was giving me I think she was talking on the phone and she was just like carelessly playing with my toes. I'm like,
this is
that's all. You don't have to cook. You don't have to clean.
Just my toes, please.
It is not sexual. It's not sexual.
It's not even.
It's me. When you touch me and hug me, I feel seen and loved.
Yep.
Just sit here. I know my wife doesn't like to be touched. I want to be touched.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just girl, rub my back. Yeah. We can watch Peppa Pig. Rub my back.
Yeah.
My wife loves to be touched while we watch Popeyes. Thank you, Lord.
Anyway, I stopped.
Sorry, Hey, you took us on
You're
a side
dropping gems, bro. You're dropping bars.
So that whole thing being, you feel loved and engaged and interested or your partner is interested in you when you're also doing the things that you love. Equally the same. She would love and enjoy those experiences with you. So for some of us, that means if you had what is it called? Male fragility. Where you think I can't go to my boys.
Subscriber lost.
Subscribe.
We all have fragility.
Yeah.
No.
If you have things that you're just like, no, as a man, how would I go to my homies and say I did A, B, and C?
Yeah.
Just remember, guys, clay painting is fire.
Go paint plates.
Hundreds.
Go paint plates.
Go paint.
And me, I'll say, you're not married to your homies, man.
Sharks.
It actually benefits and makes your relationship richer.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, what keeps any marriage sustainable in the long term is the friendship. Like, do the things your friend likes to do.
You know, I feel like I have a spirit, ne?
Is your spirit gonna take long? Because
The spirit ne, is coming out of it. There's no way to stop it right now.
let it out.
Out. Go. Let's just, again, gents, ne? Let's just be fine. We can come on here and prat all day. If you're watching this, ne? I trust and I hope that you want a better life
Yeah.
For
we
you?
could only hope.
for your kids,
Yeah.
for this country.
Yeah.
And your marriage.
Yep.
Yeah. And part of that vision of getting a better country, starting at this fundamental level,
The family nuclear. bro.
family, at the family level.
Yeah.
You and your partner are gangster, and then your kids grow up in a good environment. It changes our country. Right? There's many other ways we can think we're going to change the country, which is fine, and I don't disagree with that. Our politics, good, sure. Is
Macroeconomics.
yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, is knowing how the economics of the country work, good, yeah, right. But I'm like, what we believe at home.
Yeah.
Apartheid was perpetuated because of what people were told around the dinner table, not what they heard at school first.
I knew your spirit was gonna come with
Yeah.
Actually, it's what they were told around the
yourself
dinner
towards yourself.
table.
You must stop doing this.
When people were told about
trying to close this
the
man.
Swart Khafar, it didn't just start on the news first. It was around the dinner table. Ne? So all that to say, Buffett, let's be real. We can come here again, ne?
Yeah.
Talk about how it sucks as gents. We can't do clay painting with our wives. You know, it's not
Sip and paint.
Yeah, we can't do that. You know, masculinity is under attack.
That is
Can't
so
do that.
bad.
Ne? But there's 1,000 people who are gonna take that fight. Ne? Let's fight back against the females. Let's push back.
Yeah.
What.
Yeah.
But me, I'm not fighting the females in my life. Not fighting my wife. Not fighting my sisters. Not fighting your wives who are my sisters. Ne? I'm fighting the demon that's trying to break down this country and our families.
One
and
interest
our
at a time.
marriage. Hallelujah. How am I going to beat that demon?
Yeah.
It's not fighting my partner,
Yeah.
my squad.
Yeah.
It's going for the clay paint. Demon is going to be angry. Demon wants me to be here and say, these chicks are crazy. Because if these chicks are crazy, the war continues, well.
Yeah.
These chicks will be crazy. My daughter will be crazy. My granddaughter will be crazy as well.
Yeah.
Right? But if I'm like, no, you were not demon. You are the crazy one.
Yeah.
This thing of forcing us to go get I'm a court where I'm still some social and leave our families. That's what I'm fighting.
Yeah.
If you believe in the future of this country,
Yeah.
clay paint, Popeye, go home, love your wife and fun. Right?
Yeah, no.
Sisters, love your husband, right? Make sure ukuthi
Touch him.
mthande mbambe bamba umuntu wakho. Dog,
Yes, sir.
dog.
Yes, sir. With that said,
No, my
guys,
spirit
we are
is
meeting up
contact.
next week Sunday. Husbands, we are going to paint plates.
Yeah.
With our wife.
With our wives.
Nah, man. But hopefully we'll at some point have an event with husbands and wives together.
Yes.
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 But yeah,
Yes.
man, that's been a good chat, gents.
The
And
2.5 husbands picnic.
Yes.
It's coming.
yes.
It's coming.
Husbands and wives coming together
Yes.
Absolutely.
and taking interest in each other's interests.
Please.
Because that's very interesting.
Please.
Go paint the town red. Get it?
That's
Hey.
right.
Intriguing.
Cheers, guys.
when are your spirit? Yo.
Your spirit is very. What's got sorry?
I feel like